Every sales manual, every manual about relationship or trust has a small section in the beginning about a little word called rapport. You see, when people teach sales strategies like persuasion techniques or communication techniques or influence techniques, they always mention rapport right in the beginning. And they say something like, one of the most important things in sales is building trust. In other words, if people like you, they're more likely to buy from you. Well, the truth is, if they like you, they are going to buy from you. And if they don't, they won't. That's just the way the world works. My guest today is my friend Jonathan Sprinkles, and today we're going to be talking about how to build trust and connect in a world after COVID-19. This is EdTalks Live. Hey there, welcome to the show. My name is Ed Rush, 5-time #1 best-selling author, and your host for the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. Today, I've got a friend of mine. We've known each other for years. We're going to talk today about how to connect with your ideal market, how to sell more, how to give more, and how to live more. But before I do that, I just want to welcome you to the live show. If you're watching live on YouTube, jump into the right side. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do right into chat. If you just joined us on Facebook, Twitter, or another social media platform, click below in the comment section and say hey. We're going to have a time for open Q&A towards the end of today's show, and that's the way we are going to do it. Now, if you are just joining us, this show airs daily, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And if you're watching this on video, the timestamps are right below in the description of this video to show you all of the highlights of everything that you're going to learn during our time together. So for a moment, I just want to say hello to some of our friends in chat. Good morning, Barry Gramere, who checked in from beautiful Palm Springs. Barry was the early bird. I think he was here at 9:32 this morning, Pacific time. Dennis says, never wait for trouble. Bring it on. I think those two quotes should go together. Never wait for trouble and bring it on. I love it. Wendell Buggs from Houston. What's going on, man? I'm going to interview another friend from Houston today. Denise says hello from Canada. Hello, Terry. Good to see you. Aubrey as well. Jim Butts, my man from San Diego. Welcome joining us. Robert, what's going on, dude? How are you? Hello, Sally. Good to see you as well. Charles, welcome back to the show. And Robin Roberts from Houston as well. This is a little bit of a Texas party. David Zess says, almost done with Persuasion Mastery. That's one of my courses. And as is tradition, he says, I'm blown away. Diana says, there is a track just waiting for each of us. And once it opens, doors will open that were not open before, that would not open for anyone else. I love it. Hello, Cecilia. Welcome to the show. Now, I'm going to bring on my friend, Jonathan Sprinkles. I am just going to do a little quick personal introduction of Jonathan. I'm going to tell you one of the things that his website says about him. I've known Jonathan for about 12 years now. In fact, together we used to go about the speaking circuit, speaking to entrepreneurs back in the late 2000s. And I have to tell you, some of you have heard me say this before. I consider myself a half-decent communicator and a pretty good storyteller and a good speaker. But the moment that I saw Jonathan up on stage, I was like, man, I think I'm in the minor leagues, dude, because this guy absolutely has an ability to connect with his audience like no one I've ever seen before. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about how to connect and build trust. He is truly a master at this. But I'm going to tell you what his website says about him. His website says Jonathan is a speaker, a best-selling author, a TV personality, a coach, and a father, all of which I knew about. But the last thing says shower singer. I didn't know about that last part. What's up with the shower singing thing?
Well, Ed, there's a reason why you don't know. That's because you've never been in earshot of me in the shower. It's kind of a personal thing. You probably never will know. Just take my word for it. It's glorious. Hey, good morning. I'm really excited about being here. I am always just so honored and blessed to be with you, as well as the many people who come and join in as a part of your conversation. This EdTalk stuff, by the way, is pretty darn amazing. I was like, I didn't know we were on like national television. This is amazing. You've done a great job.
Every day, baby. TV personality. Jonathan Sprinkles with us today. So you did a section. So I went to Jonathan's event called Connect Live, just an incredible 2-day event. Jonathan's coming to Ultimate Speaker, whether it's live or digital, to teach connection. So we're working together to grow your brand as well and to help you change the world. But you did a segment at your event. I know this is not the theme so far, what we're talking about, but I wanted to mention this since we talked about shower, because you did talk about morning routine. You said you had a way of getting yourself going in the morning. You want to share that real quick since we're talking about it?
Sure. So this is very controversial. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to start off potentially on a bad foot for those people who are just not with this. But I'm going to go here anyway and just tell you, I have a tradition that every single morning after I do my prayer, I have a little morning routine that I do just to prime my mind. The next thing I do is take a cold shower. That's right, every single morning. So I'll tell you where this came from. I heard about it for many years, right? We've all seen athletes in those ice baths. And I thought it was just for people who are going to the Olympics or maybe football players who are getting beat up every day. So I can understand that. But for regular people, I'm not trying to make it to any kind of Olympics, nor am I trying to get paid as a professional athlete. So I didn't think that that was for me until I heard one guru talk about it. And he said that there's a lot of health benefits for people like you and me, people who just want to get the edge, people who want to stay on top of things. And I said, yeah, right. Well, I'll stay on top of it after this shower because I like singing in the shower. So I want to finish my whole song and I don't want to sing it in falsetto. But I said, you know what? Let me give it a try. Actually, let me not revise history. First, I said, no way. And then Lori, who works with me, said, hey, these cold showers are pretty awesome, aren't they? And I said, what do you mean? Oh, you're really doing that? And she said, yeah, I've been doing it because I want to do more. Now, she works for me, yet I was too chicken to get in there and do it myself. So I said, okay, well, if she's going to do it, then I need to go ahead and do it. And I tried it and I hated it. I tried it again. I hated it again. And by the third day, I said, you know what? It's not that bad. Let's try it again. And it has been fantastic. And it's something that is so good because I feel now like I have already accomplished something. I've already won a victory by the time I get my day started that I won't go back. It is amazing. I feel I have not just a mantra, but an incantation that I say every single day. And it reminds me, today is my day. Favor follows me. I can do all things through Christ. Whatever comes my way, I'll rise above. So this is just an amazing thing that I'm telling myself to get my mind set up to win every single day.
Do you say that out loud every day?
Out loud. I scream it.
Really?
I scream it like
right there out the window and everything. Let the neighbors hear. And
I've replaced my singing with screaming. They don't sound that different though, actually.
So I studied 2 years ago. In fact, this week's EdTalk weekly flight briefing, if you're not getting that, you're not on my email list. You can get that at edrush.com. Jonathan, I talk about the Wim Hof method. I learned that about 2 years ago. Wim Hof was the Iceman. And I'm going to show you a picture I just pulled up. This is my bathtub. Check that out right there. So that's my bathtub. Just a couple weeks ago, I threw 40 pounds of ice in that thing, baby. And there's another picture in here someplace of the whole thing filled up. 40 pounds of ice, 20 minutes immersed inside of it. And I can tell you.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So, but I was inspired because when I came to your event, you talked about turning that shower down. So as you're watching, first of all, you should know neither Jonathan and I are medical professionals, nor do we play them on TV. That said, there is ample evidence that exposure to cold in short periods actually does help your immune system. And so what I started doing was just gently turning down the shower knob until it got all the way cold. And then what I started doing was trying to challenge myself not to breathe like that, just trying to breathe nice and easy through it. And sure enough, man, you start to get used to it and it does kind of invigorate you a little bit in the morning. So I thought that was pretty cool, man.
20 minutes with 40 pounds of ice. That's another level. I haven't gone there yet.
I don't recommend that. And I'll tell you, I pushed it a couple times a little bit too far and damn near had hypothermia. So, so just so you know, I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying every once in a while, you just got to get your man on and jump up in that bathtub with your with the ice full. So, all right, dude. So let's talk about connecting. And interestingly, that was a side point, but it really wasn't. I mean, part of what you told me, dude, 12 years ago, you said, listen, people will never hear you till they know you. And you've been all about just connecting with people and having people understand who you are so that you can help them. And really that story we just told was in some ways a connection story. There was something about you and I that people just learned that they never knew before. So let's talk a little bit about connection, why it's so important. I mean, you've been going deep in this topic for a long time. So let's just start there.
So let's talk about it just from a human perspective, because that's really what it is. First of all, the most basic definition, and by the way, I love when people will do this. I like to have a conversation with the audience at home. I want to get to know you. So if you don't mind, this is not just a monologue or dialogue between Ed and me. This is actually all of us. So I'm going to have you write down some things. And the reason why it's good for you also, because whatever you take action on, it helps to solidify it in your brain, in your heart and in your brain. So a couple of things that's very important. I want you to write down the definition of connection. And if everybody writes, that's fine. Connection equals oneness. Connection equals oneness. That's what we're creating, is a sense of oneness. I want what you want. I value what you value. I want to protect what's important to you. And I want to give you what you want in life. That's the entry point into the conversation about trust. Connection equals oneness. Please write that in. Thank you. So when you understand that and use that as your focal point, that connection is oneness, you understand the difference between connection and rapport. Rapport is to connection what a first date is to a marriage. Rapport just means that we have something in common. Hey, Ed, I see you have on a shirt. Well, I'm wearing a shirt. Hey, Ed, I see you're from California. Well, guess what? I'm from California. Well, that's nice. But and while it is important, that is a good way to start. It is connection that we want. That is the entry point into building the more important factor in all relationships, which is trust. So let's talk about why this is important, especially after COVID, because right now, let's be honest, we don't know what we're going to step back into. We've heard some reports of the economy picking back up. Some people say gloom and doom. Is it an L shape, a W shape, a Nike shape? Who knows, right? Nobody knows. We're making up shapes now to try to describe something that has never happened before. So who knows? And it's okay. We don't have to know. But here's what we do know. What we do know is that relationships are going to be at a premium. So connection, somebody add this as well, please. Barry, thank you for writing that before. Connection is the new currency. Connection is the new currency. Why is this important? Because money hasn't gone away. This is how recessions work. The money doesn't go away. People are just hanging on to it more now, and they're making sure that the investments that they make are with the things and people that they trust and value. So whereas before, let's say the first day of vacation, let's say you have, I'm just going to throw out a random number, 5 $100 bills in your wallet. You pick out one. Yeah, sure. I'll give a big tip. Yeah, no problem. Hey, cool. I'll buy some popsicles for the family. Yeah, hey, no problem. We'll buy lunch, right? But by the end of that vacation, you might be down to your last $100 bill. Now, every single purchase will be scrutinized with a much different level of scrutiny than you did when it was just plentiful. So the money and the attitudes about money are very different now. So what we've got to do is position ourselves to connect with people so that they know, like, and trust us, and will continue to invest in us because we want what they want. We're no longer a vendor, but we become partners.
So good, man. So good. Those first two things, first of all, connection equals oneness. Thank you, Barry, for taking notes for us in chat, my man. And the second one was connection is the new currency. If you just joined us, by the way, and I see a whole bunch of you that have just joined us, my name is Ed Rush, former F-18 fighter pilot. I'm here with my friend Jonathan Sprinkles. We are talking about connecting after COVID, the new rules for building trust and closing sales. I want to catch up in chat real quick. We've had some really great comments. We were talking about ice. Ed says, did you have like a roaring fire to stand by after your cold shower? The last one, that bath one that I did, Edwin, just so you know, I did a warm one afterwards. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes just go to bed. By the way, I sleep great after those cold ones. Sally said, I tried taking a cold shower today. I have a hot solar water heater in Arizona. The water isn't cold. I remember when I lived in Yuma, the water coming out of the pipes was 100 degrees. Coach Gary says, Wim Hof helped me complete a brutal endurance event where you have to deal with extreme temperatures. I love it. Denise says, I have the same thing. It's called winter in Canada. I love that. It's very good. And Gisbert says that where was this? Cold showers and breathing exercises in the shower in the mornings. It gets your superpowers on. I think that. And Denise and Jonathan and Denise and David just say some really great things. So thank you for your awesome comments. I appreciate that. Keep them coming again. In just a little bit, we're going to have an open Q&A session with Jonathan. So let's get back to a discussion of connection. If you just joined us, my name is Ed Rush. This is Connecting After COVID, the new rules for building trust and closing sales with my friend Jonathan Sprinkles. You know, what you just said is interesting to me because I was thinking just yesterday about how, 8,000 years ago, if people wanted to know about what was happening in the world, they found out from people, the people that were in their little tribe or their little group. And then something happened as we industrialized as a nation. We started getting our information from agencies. We got our information from the government or we got our information from news. But now that no one trusts that again anymore, all of a sudden, Jonathan, we're getting our information from people again. It's interesting that's come around full circle. So what you're saying about connection really is digging in, even though we're separated physically right now, we're actually connecting even more, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. What we're discovering now is that the reason why this particular pandemic is unique to any other time in history or any other economic slowdown is that this is the first time ever that people are getting the majority of their information from social media. To your point, Ed, that in the past, we would trust the big three, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or MSN, or whatever your flavor of the month was. You would listen to one, and that was the source that you would trust. But now the information has now been crowdsourced. So now I believe what Dennis has to say, or Denise, or John, or David, Barry, I believe what they have to say more than I would the other people who are supposedly the experts. As of late, the term expert is now very questionable. And so what that means to us as people who are information producers and problem solvers is that reviews matter more because we now have more ways to sound off. The word on the street matters more, but also your presence is going to matter more. Your body of work is going to matter more, so that when people decide who they're going to trust, that you have more reasons for people to trust you. Now, the body of work is a very interesting piece of the conversation around connection. You're thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm just getting to know them. Well, how many times have you ever heard about somebody and the first thing you did was what? What's the first thing you did? Somebody write it in. Somebody just say, I'll just wait for a second. After you heard about somebody, what's the first thing you did? Ed, go ahead and say it. You what?
So you went to Google. And
you would Google them.
In, right, to find out. Yep.
Now, here's the opportunity here. When somebody Googles you, what do they see? Now, this is either going to increase the connection or it's going to decrease the connection. When I teach the Connecting Through Selling course that I have, I always ask this question: is this the beginning of yes, or is it the beginning of no? Well, here's a little hack. Ed likes to talk about these hacks, right? So I'm going to throw out a hack. You got to make sure that you are dominating the first page of your topic or whatever people would Google you as. So if I say Ed Rush or Ed Rush pilot or Ed Rush speaker, you got to make sure that you dominate that page. Now, here's an easy way to do it. Doing things like this: get on video, have something to say, find out what your point of view is, and have something to say about your topic. Now, a lot of people think, I don't like to get on camera, or what if I don't say enough to sound like some of these big name experts? Who cares? That's not what we're looking for. Again, we want to hear from people just like us. So think about these three words: point of view. That's all you need. Your point of view is just your opinion. Now, how do we connect using our point of view? So Ed is a fighter pilot. doesn't connect with me on that side, other than the fact that I'm appreciative of him serving the country, right?
In awe is what he meant to say.
What do you say?
In awe, I think was what you meant to say. I'm just messing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Now, so if he says, well, let me tell you what this is like from a fighter pilot's perspective to other servicemen, men and women, then that would connect. But if Ed says, let me tell you, I'm a fighter pilot who uses who uses these tools to grow my business. Got me now. Because now he's in a deified position. He's done things that I could only dream of. He's flown faster. He served the country. He is a true hero and a legend. So you take what you have and you bend it toward where they are. So add this to the notes, please. Meet them where they are. Here's why this is so important, especially after COVID. The world is flat. Everybody's at the same phase now. Everybody's in the same place. Whether you have money or whether you don't have money, everybody is scared about their money. Everybody's concerned about what's going to happen next. And actually, I've seen some reports that some of the people who have more money are even more stressed out because they don't know whether they're going to be able to keep their money. They don't know whether they're going to, if you're invested in the stock market already, you've seen some of the reasons for concern. So we want to meet them where they are. The stuff that people would have with the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris, you've seen those little stupid YouTube videos, the intro. Well, I used to be broke and 2 years ago, and now I have a Lamborghini. All of that stuff is now invalid because that seems like it's too far away and it now feels unrealistic. That's not meeting them where they are. You know what people want? They want this. You can add this term in: quick wins. You want to create some quick wins for your people. You don't want to have to say, look, I'm going to turn you into a millionaire in 30 days. That seems like it's impossible at this point. In a broken world economy, it doesn't feel real. But if you say, look, I'm going to show you how to move your life forward. I'm going to show you as a fighter pilot, I've gotten myself out of some tight situations before where I had the enemy on my back. I'm used to operating under pressure. And as a fighter pilot, I'm going to show you how to make a quick turn and win in the end. That's how you connect.
Interesting, man. This is so good. And I've got so many notes. I'm going to come back to you in a second for more ways to connect, but reviews, presence, body of work, meet them where they are, quick wins. I love the quick win thing, by the way. This is, I think, brilliant. It's one of those things where, when we go out and teach sometimes, we just want to give people everything. And I have to tell you, man, I went back a couple of years ago, I went back and went through a whole bunch of my talks that I gave. And I realized, I mean this when I say this, I actually taught too much. Mm-hmm. It was like, by the time I got done, I remember I had a pastor walk up to me. He was at one of my events and he came up to me and he goes, dude, second day of three day event. He goes, I can't take anymore. He's like, I can't do this. He goes, I have to just walk for a while because there's too much in my head. And I realized, because I cared for the people that I was working with, I wanted to give them everything. Yeah. But while giving them everything, what I made them feel was inadequate because they couldn't do everything. Mm-hmm. And I love that quick win thing. It's like, this is your first step. Do this now, the first thing. And really what I did, dude, is I went back into my talks and I started telling more stories, like you just said, that connect with people where they are so that they can take the next step and see success there and then be ready to take the next step. Dude, I think that is really, really profound, deep.
Thank you. And that's the essence of connection, right? What you experienced was an unintended consequence called the big disconnect. You're thinking, the more I teach them, the more value I'll give them because you're an ethical, honest business person. And thank God for you. So you're thinking, look, if I could just give you the whole book right now in an hour, then that'll be better. But that isn't the way that we learn. So meeting them where they are means, where are they in actuality, but also where are they in their mentality? That also speaks to their belief system. Where do they believe they are? So whether they can or whether they can't is irrelevant. The question is, do they believe they can or do they believe they can't? That's where you want to meet them. That's the place that you want to start.
That's so good, man. I'll tell you, I've had people, it's great. It's great. I want to go deeper on this belief system in just a second. Before I do that, I just want to welcome some of you just joined us. So I want to welcome you. This is Ed Talks Live, connecting after COVID, the new rules for building trust and closing sales with my friend Jonathan Sprinkles. Dude, I want to catch up in chat real quick. Delise is like, yep, I Googled it. Jim says, now I go to the internet. And the funny thing was, Denise said we were talking about people automatically go. She said, look, as soon as Jonathan started to talk, I Googled him. I like that. Barry says, point of view, Jonathan's authenticity. Man, I like that. And the tip, meet them where they are. Thank you, Denise, for your awesome comment. She said, these two men exude integrity. I appreciate that. That's the goal, right? To just deliver on what you promise and then under promise and over deliver. This was an interesting comment, and it's interesting, Gary. I never connected the dots on this, but my book 21 Day Miracle fundamentally is a approach that gives people a very simple thing that they can execute that can create great results in the long term. So very, very cool. I really like that. Craig Valentine quote, when you squeeze your information in, you squeeze. I think it's pretty good, actually. I like that.
That's good.
They believe they can, or they believe they can. I really like this. So thank you, all of you, for your amazing comments in our chat. Thank you for being a part of this incredible community. Got some good stuff coming up, by the way, which you're going to like. Actually, while I'm on that topic, I'll take a quick commercial break anyway to tell you that tomorrow, you are not going to want to miss tomorrow's show. I'm interviewing Mike Kane because I'm actually heading up to Mike's studio. We're going to be socially distanced inside of his studio. That doesn't mean we're probably not going to hug it out right in the beginning, but we'll at least say hello to each other in the beginning. And I've got a show for you on Friday that you're not going to want to miss. I'm going to tease it tomorrow and tell you about it. It's going to be really great. All right, so let's get back into the discussion. And by the way, in about 10 minutes, we're going to open it up for your questions, to ask Jonathan your questions one-on-one. You're welcome to put those into chat right now. Just format it saying the word question so that I know that you're asking a question. So let's get into belief systems. If you just joined us, if you just joined us, this is Ed Talks Live. This is Connecting After COVID, the new rules for building trust and closing sales. I'm Ed Rush. I'm here with my friend Jonathan Sprinkles. You said something interesting, which I really like, about the way you communicate to people. You said, look, it has a lot to do with the way they believe. In other words, what they see of themselves, what they see of their future. Can you talk about that? But really specifically, how do you take somebody from a belief system that's limiting and into a belief system that's unlimited?
So great question, Ed. Here's how I teach it. I have an event called Presentation Power where I go into all of this, and I'll give you a little slice of that right now. There's a concept that I teach called bus stops. I'll explain to you why they're so important. First of all, we've all ridden the bus, and we know that when we're on the bus, it'll go a couple of blocks and then it'll stop and pick up some more people and then go down a few more blocks and pick up a few people. Cool. Got it. Right. Bus stops are so important in our presentations or in our in our marketing and everything that we do to connect with people, to get them on the bus, because once you get them on the bus, you can take them to where you want them to go. But you can't just roll by them and have them jump on the bus. You have to stop and meet them where they are. So let's pick up where we left off with that. So we start off with that. So here's the question that I want you to envision for your group, whoever your niche is. Someone please add this to the comments. What do I know about what it's like to be them? What do I know about what it's like to be them? So once again, I'm going to use Ed because he's the man of the hour. So what do I know about what it's like to be Ed? So what do I know? Ed is a fighter pilot, but what else? Ed is an entrepreneur. Okay, what else? He's a husband. He's a father. He has a lot of kids running around the house. He has a young child there. So that means that he's thinking a lot of things. He has certain pressures, certain stresses. Remember, connection is what? Oneness. So that's where you want to connect, not just with the persona, but with the person. You want to get to the face, not the mask. You want to go all the way in. So think about all of the different things that your people are going through and experiencing right now. What are the joys and what are the pains that come along with those? The reason why, and I'll get to the bus stop and how effective it is. The reason why this is so important is because our job is to be the P.P.S, professional problem solvers. We want to solve the problems and be compensated for that. That's fair. That's called free enterprise. If I do something for you that you can't do for yourself, or something that you don't want to do, or I can do it better than you, and you agree to compensate me for it, then we're good. So there is an exchange. That's all we're doing, is we're looking for problems that we can go and solve for people. So here's how we do it to elevate their consciousness from can't to can, or from can to can do even better. So we take the bus stops. What do we know about what it's like to be them? So we look at a couple of things in their lives and we ask the question, what do they believe right now? So let's take Ed, for example. Ed has a very, very high self-efficacy level. I know Ed believes he can do a lot of things, but I know that there's something that Ed says, I can do better. That's what I talk about. There's something that Ed might even believe, I'm just not good at that. Like, look, I'm good at all these things, but this thing I'm really not. That's what I talk about. And I talk about how I also, you want to use this framework. Ed, I know how you feel. It's called feel, felt, found. Ed, I know how you feel. I felt the same way until I found this solution.
That is awesome, man. I love these shows because I learn new things every single time. I've never heard that.
Really?
Feel, felt, found. Do that one more time. How you, I know you don't use the word scripting. There's another way that you
framework.
Framework. How do you do this again? I want to hear this. Do it again.
So let's take something like keeping your coffee warm, right? You know, you're doing these hour-long talks and your coffee is cold, but you really love the taste of hot coffee. So I say, Ed, look, I love hot coffee too, man. And I was so bummed when I would do a long webinar and my coffee got cold. Look, I know how it feels when you've done a webinar and then you take that first sip and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then you forget it's been sitting there and it's cold. That sucks, right? That's a terrible feeling. You know, I felt the same way. And I remember that last time when I drank, I said, there's got to be a better way because I want to feel refreshed. And that's when I found the solution. I found this little coffee warmer that I put underneath my coffee. And so now, even after an hour, my coffee is hot. So I do a webinar and then I get to reward myself with a sip of fresh hot coffee. You want one?
That's good, man. That's really good. I mean, I'm just saying, so I'm a little bit taken aback because I teach this stuff and rarely do I come across a communication strategy that I have never heard of, never taught. That one is good. And chat just blew up. So Marquetta says, that is awesome. I never heard about that either. I like that. Feel, felt, found. That is, I have this coffee mug over there, by the way, that keeps the coffee hot. My web guy, Tom, gave it to me as a Christmas gift. So that would have been a perfect thing until I found this mug. And by the time you get done, man, you could sell like 100 of those mugs if you wanted to. So
absolutely.
I thought that I do like my coffee, John Teague. I do. I told y'all one day I'm doing tea. Okay. But anyway, I don't need to go down that road. I'll just say this, Jonathan, this for me was the cure to any kind of presentation or marketing fear. So for example, I work with speakers, so do you. And one of the questions we get asked is, well, how do you overcome stage fright? And the truth is I've not had a single twinge of stage fright in 7 years. People ask me, hey, how do you get over that fear of asking someone for the sale? The truth is I don't have that fear anymore, but I realized it has to do with what you just taught, not the same framework, but it has to do with what you just taught. What I realized is when I was getting nervous backstage, dude, there were moments. I remember when I first started speaking, you might have experienced this too. I remember when I first started speaking, I used to wake up in the morning before a talk I had in the afternoon, And I would think, man, I can't wait till this day's over, because I was so nervous about the talk. And now I don't get nervous at all. And the transition between those two was, in the beginning, I was thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I hope I don't mess up. I hope my slides work. I hope they like me. And at the transition point at 7 years is when I started thinking 100% about the people that I was talking to. In fact, I would narrow it down to people. I would think of individuals. And all of a sudden, all the fear went away, because fear fundamentally is you thinking about yourself. It's amazing how that connects with what you just said. Thoughts on that?
And to another angle, I mean, you're 100% right on that. I can't say I've even beaten the stage fright piece. I'll say it's a little different. It's not fear anymore. It is just excitement. I still get those little jitters, that stuff inside. And by the way, if you're still in that phase, good. Just go through it, right? You'll be better because of it. I believe you have to face it and rise. You don't just face it and say, I'm not going to do well. But what I've come to realize, Ed, and what has done it for me, and I'm not asking anyone else to adopt this, what got me through that was when I realized I don't want to be a speaker. I want to be a messenger. Let me explain what that is like practically. Let's say the last time, this is happening a lot now, you ordered something from Amazon. A car or truck pulls up. Somebody comes to your front door. They ring the doorbell. They put the box down. And then what? They walk away. That's it. The person didn't sit there and say, ooh, what'd you get? Tell me, what'd you get? Right? Why? Because it's none of their business. What they're supposed to do is just give you the package and then move away from it. So I believe, as a man of faith, I believe my job is to be sent as the messenger for that group, to give them a message. And then I don't get in the way of my own personal fears, insecurities, worries, and doubts. I don't worry about if I'm good enough to deliver this message. I don't worry about how they're going to receive it. Look, I've got to just be bold enough to deliver the message, because guess what? If Amazon delivers to the wrong place or fails to deliver, guess what's going to happen to that driver? They get fired. And I don't want to get fired. I want to be bold enough to deliver the message the way that it was given to me. And the reason why I practice the craft is because I want to deliver it in a way, not that makes me better, but in a way that is more acceptable and more understandable to more people, so that more people can be helped. That's it. I am not a speaker. That's about me, to Ed's point. I'm a messenger. And so now, because I love to help and serve, being a messenger, that does it for me. That makes me feel like I've done a good job at the end of the day.
That's huge, man. I like that. And taking that Amazon package delivery person analogy, that not only do they need to not be a complete part of the transformation, but they don't even need to take credit for the package. I thank them, but they don't expect you to stand there and walk on them for like, wow, you drove today. Congratulations for driving. Like they just did the thing. And I was thinking about the story of John the Baptist, who said he was a messenger, and then said, look, he must increase and I must decrease. And I was reminded, Jonathan, when you were telling that story, I had a person I was working with years ago, as a coach, as a trainer. Was a person that I was deeply connected to, who was helping me grow as a person, as a communicator. And one day he got about 30 to 50 of his people together. And he just said, hey, I just want you to teach for a day. And I said, all right, man. So you're going to come up and do an introduction and then you're going to come out. And he goes, nope. He goes, you're just going to go out there and you're going to do it because you need to increase and I need to decrease. And I was like, wow, just to have somebody that influential to say those words. But that's truly what a messenger does. I mean, I think that's such a neat analogy. You're not a speaker, you're a messenger. That's solid, man.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's what did it for me. What I know about most people here, especially those in the chat, I can see based on some of the comments that people really resonate with that. A lot of times, let me kind of help you out. If you're anything like me and Ed, then you'll understand what this means. you will do more for others than sometimes you will for yourself. You find yourself in this cycle sometimes of putting other people first and forgetting to put yourself in there. Even professionally, sometimes we do all these great and amazing things with these great ideas for our clients. And you're like, oh, but my website still isn't done. I still need to write my own book. Right? We have a lot of those things. So if that is you, then the messenger mindset will help you to get out of your own way. And that'll be a trigger that will say, you know what, this isn't about me. Let me just deliver the package.
It's so good, man. And I want to talk about communicating to one person. Before I do that, I do need to catch up right here in chat because bam, all of a sudden, this just chat, dude, you exploded chat twice today. So the pandemic is a great equalizer and even allows small businesses to thrive. I love that. Bingo. That's the key. The people, Aubrey says, felt, found is brilliant. I love that. Charles asked a question, which I'm going to get to in just a second, but Giovanni just lights on fire. I like that. Robin says, I love the package delivery analogy. That will stick. I really like that, man. That's two today. Marcus says, I can see how the messenger mindset can help with stage fright. Yes, I'm scared, but this message is so important. I have to tell them anyway, no matter how clumsily I do it. It's interesting, Marcus. One of the things I teach at Ultimate Speaker is how to overcome stage fright. And I tell people it's the shortest segment. The segment takes 5 minutes. And I guarantee people that by the time they're done with the 5 minutes, they will have overcome stage fright. And I just give a little tool and I led into it a little bit. It's all about focusing on people. And when you start to feel this like goosebumps you start to feel the heat well up and you get these goosebumps and you know, hey, I'm good now. Yeah, he sells that shirt someplace, right? Where do you offer that shirt?
I do.
So, David Zetz, are you going to change the Ultimate Speaker to Ultimate Messenger? Probably not, but there's a marketing reason for that. So I really like that. Love that, says Bob Moore. The messenger delivering the package. Really solid, dude. I like that. All right. Love the package that Jonathan delivered. I'm going to do this real quick just because someone mentioned where they can find out more about Jonathan. Usually I do this at the end of the show, but you earned this one, man, because so far this has been awesome. And we're going to even go a little bit deeper on communication and connection. But there is a website below you. If you're listening to this instead of watching, the website is bettingonmyself.net, right? That's the one that we're talking about. Tell them what's there so that they can go get their free tool, and then we'll come back to the interview. So what do you got there? I think I might have lost you, man. Jonathan is frozen. Yep. All right. So he'll be coming back here in just a second. I think I'm still connected. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up in chat. I think we're still all on here. But man, one of the things that happens with live streaming video. So let me talk a little bit more about connection. And then when Jonathan comes back, I'll tell you where you can get connected with him. Hang on a second, because he just texted me. Here we go. Can't find his website. All right, I'll find that for you. Good to go. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. All right. So as Jonathan Sprinkles comes on back, let me just talk about communicating to one person. And I'm going to walk you into a little technique that I use that he was alluding to, a different way of doing this, but it's the same way. So when I think about marketing, for example, if I'm writing a sales letter or a promotion or a webinar or a speech or anything, I usually focus on 1 to 5 people. Now, I have a better success mentally thinking of a group of people. That's because as a communicator, I'm used to coming in as a group. But I know other people who will literally focus only on one person. So I want you to imagine for a second your best customer. I'm talking about the person who you know that has gotten the best result from working with you. This is a person who loves everything that you do. I'm talking about, like, you know, those people, like, as soon as you put a post up on Facebook, they're the first one to thumbs up that thing. Okay, so I want you to imagine this person for a moment, and then I want you to think about what they want, what they care about. When they wake up in the morning, what are the things that concern them? What are the things that they're worried about? When they get up in the morning and get out of bed, what are the first thoughts that go through their head? Are they thinking to themselves, man, I need an extra $10,000 right now? Are they thinking, gosh, I wish I could connect better with my kids? Are they feeling like, gosh, I wish I had a better relationship with my spouse? Or are they looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, man, I just wish I could lose that extra 10 pounds? And I'm giving you some common ones, by the way, but I want you to think about, what is it that they really want? What's the thing that they've been thinking about? The second thing I want you to ask yourself is, what's the obstacle that they perceive is in their way, okay? And what I just said, how I said it, is actually important. The obstacle that they perceive is in their way, right? So for example, let's take the person who wants to lose an extra 10 pounds. Their perception sometimes is, man, if I could get the right diet, if I could get the right tool, I will be good to go, okay? And so for them, you want to know what they want. You want to know what their perceived obstacle is. And then at that point, I want you to just spend about 4 to 5 minutes just thinking about them. And I want you to think about them long enough that you get this feeling deep inside your heart right here, where you are now caring so much about them and their problem that you would do almost anything to help them solve the problem. Now, walk up on the stage and communicate. Because I can tell you, you can mess up your words like I just did. You can mess up your slides. You can mess up how you stand. You could do the wrong body language. You could do all those things, and you can still connect with people because you care about them. All right, my man, Jonathan is back. You good?
Yes. We had a big storm here in Houston in the morning, and they're still working on the Wi-Fi. So sorry about that.
No worries, man. It's good to have you back. So I was just talking a little bit about how to think about the person that you're communicating with and develop empathy. But before we left, I was just saying, I want you to tell everyone where they can get what you're offering. You're just giving something away for free, but tell them about bettingonmyself.net.
Yeah. So one of the things that a lot of people have been struggling with, and even I in the beginning, was just feeling a sense of normalcy and creating some certainty within your day. So I created the Betting on Myself daily planner. The reason why this is so important is because it takes you through everything that your mind and your habits need to move forward. So it has a performance psychology background to it. This is mine that I created today. You start off with talking about your gratitude, your thank you notes, what you're most proud of, what you're building progress toward. All of these things every day. It's just like 30 seconds that you give attention to that. But instead of just starting your day the normal way, what you do is you create this way, so that way you start to build some momentum because your mind is primed to give you the results that you want. Most people do this differently because they don't have the performance psychology background that I do. Ed, you understand exactly why all of this is important, to prime your mind and even your central nervous system to receive these types of messages before you start to look at what you want to do. It makes you dream bigger, act more clearly, more decisively, and you know exactly what you need to do in every minute of the day. So go to bettingonmyself.net, and when you get it, download it, put a picture online, and make sure that you tag me on there or use hashtag bettingonmyself, and I'll make sure I comment so that way I can send my followers to you. I can give you some algorithm love. I just want to show you some love personally.
Very cool. Very cool. Don't take that last sentence out of context. What he means is social media. So, by the way, Jonathan and I were at literally one of the last Laker games this year. Before the whole NBA, I never, ever in a million years thought the NBA would stop, but the NBA stopped. It had nothing to do with Jonathan and I being at that game, by the way. But we were right down on the court, man, for about an hour. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences that I've had in my sports life. And I've been to all-star games. I've done all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm not like the fangirl type. I've seen it all, done it all. But I was still like, oh, my God, Ed, oh, my God.
You had,
it was amazing. It was just amazing. Thank you again.
Thanks to my dad. My dad works as a consultant to the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. So we had press room passes so we could get on the floor. Anyway, it was an awesome day, dude. All right, so here's what I want to do. There are just a handful of questions sitting in chat. By the way, if you just joined us, this is Connecting After COVID, the new rules for building trust and closing sales. My name's Ed Rush. I'm with Jonathan Sprinkles. As usual, we have way too much to cover in way too short of a period of time. But quickly, let's do a little rapid fire Q&A. I'm just going to bounce into some of the questions that I got. I want to scroll up because they were higher up in chat. Jonathan, let's do these couple minutes and then we'll let you wrap up. So Charles says, can Jonathan say something about questions he asks when establishing trust with a new client or prospect or somebody that you're looking to work with?
Sure. Well, really, the cool part is the questions that I ask before establishing connection with the client are virtually the same as what I do when I am working with an audience, whether I'm on stage or one-on-one looking to sell or to present. It's the exact same thing. Why? Because I don't present to an audience. I present to one person and everybody else gets to hear. Little mindset shift, right? It's a one-on-one conversation. So I always ask first, what do they need? What have they tried? How do they feel? How can I help? What do they need? What have they tried? How do they feel? And how can I help? Notice I'm putting myself last in this. Yeah. I'm asking myself the questions about them first. So I'm starting with what are their goals? Now, now the reason why this is important, and I know this rapid fire, so I won't go too deep into it. First, we just want to understand what their main goal is. Okay, they want to lose 20 pounds. What have they tried? They've tried other personal trainers. They've done this diet. They've done that. Okay, now how do they feel as a result of not getting there? This is where the money is, because people will invest money to get rid of feelings. I just don't want to feel like the loser. I don't want to feel hopeless. I don't want to feel fat. I don't want to feel like I don't have any energy. And once I find that out, then I can use those words specifically in my positioning to them to say, look, you know what? Once again, I go into the feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. Oh my God, it's like you've known me. Yeah, well, I felt the same way. That's why I can. And now I am what is called the empathetic expert. The empathetic expert. The empathetic expert is somebody who knows where they are, but also knows the way out. So
good, man. I like the second one. I like it all, but I like the second one. What have they tried? Because so for example, I used to sell internet websites and training behind that way back in the day. And people used to always say, I tried this before and it didn't work. So I like this. What have you tried? Because then you can take their story about the thing that didn't work and you can turn it into a new story for them about the thing that does work. I think that is awesome, dude. I love this question. Coach Gary Rush, by the way, his last name, no relation other than awesomeness. Gary Rush says, how do you connect with an audience that has no energy and no emotion? And so I'll just say, I'm going to ask you the question, but I'll say this happens. Jonathan and I are veterans of thousands, I think, at this point, presentations. And I will tell you, we've walked into rooms where people are going crazy. I'm talking like on their feet, beach balls flying all over the place. And we've walked into rooms where, I gave a talk in Minnesota one time. I might as well have been talking to 150 chairs. I'm telling you, something must have happened to that organization right before I got there. And so, and that's out of your control sometimes as a communicator. I was at 7 o'clock in the morning in Minnesota speaking to 150 chairs. It was like 12 degrees outside. So as a professional communicator, what do you do for the no energy room of blank stares? I like this question.
So first off, the first thing you got to do is not internalize it. And like you said, sometimes it's because of something that happened. Sometimes it's not even your fault. Like if they've been there for 8 hours and you're the last speaker, they don't want to hear from you. They want to go out to the bar. They want to go out to the pool. You're like a problem. That's all you are. You're not a speaker. You're a problem. So the shorter you can be, the better. Again, there's a myriad of experiences, Ed. I'm sure you've been through all of them, as have I. But here's the first thing. You don't take it personally. Number two, you amplify your energy. Number three, you acknowledge what they're feeling. Look, guys, I can tell everybody here is a little tired. Look, I know that whatever just happened has got everybody a little bit down. So again, don't take it personally. Number two, amplify your personal energy. Number three, you acknowledge where they are. And then number four, you exercise together. So here's what you do. You get them to change their state. I've never said it like this before. This is interesting. Thank you very much, Coach. I appreciate this question. So you do an exercise to change their state. If you're sitting in your chair and you've been here for 55 minutes and 20 seconds, you've probably sat in just about the same position. This is called a state. If you stood up, you get the blood flowing. That would change your state. So if I see that the audience is giving me no energy back, if they're giving me nothing, look, I'm either going to die on stage or I'm going to die trying to get them to change so that we can actually make progress. They'll say, all right, folks, look, whatever's happened, let's see if we can shake it off. Everybody just stand up really quickly. And then this is where you have to be sharp. You have to have some tools. I've created some trainings around this part specifically. This is where you have like you can do like a quick shoulder massage. You can do a quick game that you play. You can do a quick icebreaker or just a little stretching routine. Right? You just have to have different tools in your tool belt. So you're not thinking about it. You just feel it and go for it. And when you do that, I'm not saying you're going to take them from 0 to 10, but you can at least take them from 0 to 5.
Yeah.
And that's more than what you had before. At least that's enough to work with them and take them through the rest.
It's so good, man. I'm going to throw two things onto this really quickly. One, I definitely like getting people to stand up. So I do this thing where I get people to hoorah back to me. Gary, you've seen me do this several times. So just getting people to stand up, you'll hear them actually as they're sitting down. You're going to actually hear your audience laugh. It's the strangest thing. But when you have them stand up and do something on the way down, they're like, like it's just natural. They just did something that changed them. I'm going to give you two other quick ones. One is do not blame them. I've seen speakers blow this out of the water more times than I can count, where they're going to go, they'll ask a question. How many of you think that's true? And nobody responds, and they go, what's wrong with you? What, you didn't get your sleep last night? What? Do not blame them, okay? Because have you seen this too, right? Where people are like, what's wrong? Do never blame, because now it's you against them, okay?
Right.
The third one I've seen, which I like this too. I learned this from Bill Glazer. When Bill asks a question, he'll go, how many of you use opt-in pages in your business? How many of you don't use opt-in pages in your business? How many of you wouldn't raise your hand no matter what question I asked? Okay. And the point there is there's a whole bunch of people who are not going to raise their hand. So he's acknowledging the fact that how many of you are not going to raise your hand? And then everybody laughs, you break the spirit up a little bit, and then it moves on. So I like, that's just great stuff. All right, quickly, I've got two other questions and then we got to wrap it up. This one is not a question more than a yes or no. Charles says, can we share Jonathan's website to others we care about? You got that, go for it, okay?
Yeah, no, do not tell anybody. Don't. Keep it a secret.
Don't tell anyone about Jonathan, okay? Don't promote him at all. So quick one, Dennis says, how do you apply the new rules to initial cold emails or calls in lead generation? What are your thoughts?
I don't think there's such thing as a cold call anymore. It's always warm if you do your research. Somebody has put something on social media about themselves, or someone has said something about you. Dennis, I don't even know you from experience, but I guarantee you that if I can get just a little bit of information about some of the details of who you are, and Dennis Bauer is a very common name. I guarantee you I could find something about you and at least have a start to begin that relationship. And if you can't find anything, or if you have a big list of people and you just can't do your research on all of those people, you can always begin by asking a specific sequence of questions. And if you have the right questions that are already laid out in the right framework, then that'll allow you to at least begin to build that connection from an early point in the conversation.
Great. I love that. Last question, and then we're going to have Jonathan wrap it up. Marcus says, how do you keep track of all of your, this is true. By the way, I've heard Jonathan speak for the last 12 years, and I don't know anyone who has more quotable quotes than this guy. How do you keep track of all your great quotes and words of wisdoms and stories? Do you have to keep it all in your head, or where do you keep it all?
So no, I don't, because I'll forget them. And just like everybody else, I'm like, dang, what was that? I remember there was something about don't pick your toes in front of, no, that wasn't it. So what I do is I've actually created a book of 407 of the greatest quotes of all time. And I even give a little training on how to do that in virtual seminars. There's one on quotes, there's one on riddles, and then there's another one on brain teasers and how to use these in presentations and especially in virtual trainings so that you can make them rock. I literally just finished it last week. It's not even up yet, but here's what I will do. I'll make sure I get it to Ed and he can send that out to you all. And that way, maybe we can do something cool with it in the future. But
Awesome.
it's already done for you. You don't need to remember them. I've already done the work for you. It's in a book.
Wow, that's so cool. And by the way, the website's below, bettingonmyself.net. So please go connect with Jonathan. I'm assuming that gets them on your email list would be great too. You want to stay in touch with my man. If you're not following him on social media, do that as well. He's got really, really good profiles on all social media. You want to follow him for the information, but you also want to follow him to see how he's doing it. He's doing it very, very well. So it's really good. All right. So a couple comments in chat. Terrific session. So happy to meet you, Jonathan. Look forward to seeing you in person one day. Yes. Well, he's supposed to be coming to Ultimate Speaker. We just have to get a date. All right. Thank you, Denise, for your awesome comments. And that's the website, bettingonmyself.net. Over to you, Jonathan Sprinkles, for last minute thoughts before we leave.
First off, Ed, the Ultimate Speaker, I don't know when it's going to be or even if it's going to be virtual, wherever it is. If you get an opportunity to work with Ed, do it. The reason why Ed is so powerful in the way that he teaches, as a fighter pilot, you have to know that details matter. You can't say, I'm going kind of fast. You need to know exactly how fast you're going, the altitude, amplitude, and a bunch of other tudes that are important. But he's taken those skills and has broken down the system for how to not just be good on stage, but do everything before the stage and after the stage that continues to make you money and a bigger impact. He's one of the few people who I agree to say, look, whatever you do, I would love to be a part of it because I trust not only his information. There's a lot of smart guys out there, smart women too, a lot of smart people out there. His information is great, A+, but also his integrity. And he stands behind what he does 200%. And because of that, I stand behind him as well. So I hope that whenever we are able to meet, whenever that time is, that we'll be able to see each other face to face, because as soon as the doors open, I'm there. I'm there for you, Ed. So thank you.
Doors opening up in Texas faster than they're opening up in California. I can tell you that much. So, all right. So big clap in chat. Please say thank you to Jonathan Sprinkles. Outstanding show. Got to have you back. Got to have you back. Got to have you. We just scratched the surface today. So let's do this again if you want to. I certainly do. Thanks for the time and the show. Listen, I got a page of notes. Feel, felt, found, how to connect by asking people what they need. What have they tried? How did that feel? How can I help? How to connect with your audience, different ways to do it, reviews, presence, body of work, giving people quick wins. I mean, this was full of gold. So there's at least one thing you can take off and implement. Just before you leave chat, please tell me your number one action item, the thing that you're going to implement from today. And don't forget, tomorrow I'm bringing in my buddy Mike Koenigs. I'm going to be actually in Mike's studio. We're going to talk about the fastest path to the cash. There's some things that Mike is doing right now to create 10x transactions in his business, and you're not going to want to miss that. So without any further ado, this is EdTalks Live. Thank you for joining me on the show. I will see you tomorrow. Jonathan Sprinkles, thank you, sir. I appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.